The Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
$14.90 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. Time for another Triple Lutz report. There's a guy named Jamie Oliver, and he did a movie called Food Revolution. And it takes place in LA, and he's trying to get these kids to eat healthy. Now, mind you, he's been banned from the school district by the superintendent, Raymond Cortinez, who once ran the New York City public schools until Rudy Giuliani fired him about 20 years ago. But he figures out a way to get in anyway. And hundreds of students at West Adams Preparatory High School, which I don't know what public schools prepare kids to do any longer, but certainly not to go out and earn a living and make money. That's for sure. But in any event, he's replacing cheeseburgers and corn dogs with low-calorie salads. He's giving them chef veg curries, quinoa salads, Thai noodles, and wheat bread burgers, whatever they are. But the last thing I heard, a hamburger is made with ground beef, not with wheat bread. So the kids, of course, and this comes in the subject of out of the mouth of babes, are tossing the stuff in the garbage. And you look at what this stuff looks like, and you're just like, forget it. No kid, no adult is going to eat this garbage. So he's upset, the school's upset, the teachers are upset that all this delicious, nutritious food is winding up in the garbage. Of course, it's all the parents' fault because the parents feed their kids junk. He might be right. Maybe this stuff is better for you. But do you want the state shoving this stuff down your kids' throats? This is not what freedom is about. And the fact is, healthy food is an acquired taste, and anything that tastes lousy is an acquired taste. Think back to your first shot of scotch. Think back to your first glass of wine or your first cigarette. Anything that tastes lousy, that goes against your body's conditioning, is an acquired taste in order to enjoy it. I like cognac, okay? I'm a cognac lover, and most people look at me cross-eyed like, how could you drink that stuff? Well, guess what? It's an acquired taste. And we shouldn't force the children to acquire a taste for healthy food or food that, in other people's opinion, is healthy. I mean, look at the First Lady. She's telling us, eat healthy, don't eat junk, don't eat this, don't eat that. And then the second the camera's off of her, she's gobbling down a medium rare double cheeseburger with all the fixings and the juices dripping down her chin. And this is who's telling us they don't like what we eat. It's just another case where freedom is always sacrificed because somebody in the government, some do-gooder, knows what's better for you than you do. And who the hell appointed this Jamie Oliver as the food dictator of West Adams High School? This is just a complete outrage. The guy should be tossed. All right? If he's concerned about these kids eating healthy, let him get organic hamburger meat in there that isn't treated with hormones or antibiotics so the kids can get a decent damn burger. Let them get a Hebrew National hot dog where Hebrew National answers to a higher authority than the LA Public School District. This is what we need to be doing. And along these lines of education and what it's all about, a study came out by two Harvard researchers, so it must be true. A guy by the name of Will Dobby and Roland Fryer, they analyzed 35 charter schools. And the charter schools, as you know, generally have greater flexibility in terms of school structure and educational strategy. And what did they find? They found that traditionally emphasized factors such as class size made very little difference in school performance. What a shock. Everything that the unions say is going to improve school performance has absolutely no effect other than to make it worse. Other factors we're talking about is how much is spent on Johnny, how much we pay for Johnny to go to school, the number of teachers with advanced degrees or with certification. They have no correlation whatsoever with school and class effectiveness. However, research over the past 40 years has shown that there are certain things that do, such as frequent teacher feedback. Now, when I was a kid, the principal used to come in several times a year and sit in on the teacher and watched how they taught the class. Nowadays, the thought of the principal getting up off of his or her butt, leaving their office, and observing teachers doing what they're paid to do is unheard of. Who would think? And then frequent use of data to guide instruction. That means you test. If the kids are weak in grammar, you stress grammar. If they're weak in science, you stress science. You find the areas of particular courses that they're weak in, and then also what they call high dosage tutoring, which is individualized, not necessarily personal instruction, where you have a group of kids who are having the same problem, 5 of them, you keep them after school and you work on it till they understand the issue. Amazing, huh? And the other one, increased instructional time, meaning longer class times, longer school days. Who would think that if you increase the amount of instructional time, class time, kids might actually learn more? Isn't that shocking? And finally, and this is the parents and the system's responsibility, high expectations. When I went to school, my parents expected me to get an A in every class. Of course, I was not an A student, so there was a lot of friction and disappointment. I got C's and B's. If they had expected me to get B's and C's, I probably would have gotten D's. Expectations matter. In fact, they could be the most important aspect of everything. And these guys claim that these factors account for approximately 50% of the variation in school effectiveness. I don't know what the other 50% is. Maybe it's healthy food in the cafeteria. Maybe it's a free school breakfast, free school lunch, free school dinner. I don't know. But what they're saying is that we need to go back to the basics. And what I'm saying is the schools are failing because they're public schools, because they're government-run schools. They're indoctrination centers. I go back, my sister taught in public schools and in private schools. In private school, she taught in an exclusive school in Chicago, taught the kids foreign languages. And what did she find? That when they started teaching them languages in first grade, the kids learned much better. They were much more proficient. Isn't that a shock? Than the kids she taught in middle school and in high school, who were much slower, because when the brain is younger, it can absorb different languages. Now, I'm not saying you need to learn 10 languages. You go to Amsterdam, not many people speak Dutch, so they have to learn all the other languages, and it's not unusual to find somebody who can speak 5, 6, 7 languages. All you need is one, because that is proven to increase your ability to perform grammatical analysis, to read better, so many things. It helps your analytical skills. There's just a lot of things that knowing a second language, being proficient in another language, gives to a student. Let's go back to this concept of monitoring teachers in the classroom, right? I'll go back to my first 6 teachers. First grade, she knew how to connect, and that's the key to teaching. You must connect. Second grade, she could connect too. She was a big lady. She was intimidating. You're always afraid she was going to smack you when you screwed up. So out of fear, you connected with her. 3rd grade was a disaster. Teacher hated my guts. Antithesis of connection. 4th grade teacher was phenomenal. She happened to be fluent in Russian as well. She connected with every student in the class, had high expectations for them, and made their success her primary goal. 5th grade, disaster. 6th grade, good teacher, connected. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about public schools. They don't care if the kids get educated in these urban school districts. They're babysitting centers. They're there to keep the kids out of trouble. That's their purpose. The first thing they care about is teacher and class safety. Very good. We care about that too. But then it's, what benefits am I getting? How many breaks do I get? I'm not going to watch these kids in the schoolroom, in the cafeteria. Let's hire people to do that. Let's make sure our pensions are fully funded, and let's make sure we get lifetime free health benefits. And in Buffalo, New York, they pay for plastic surgery, purely cosmetic surgery. They pay for Botox. That's what the system cares about. It doesn't care about the kids. The kids are the least of it. The kids come last, plain last. Now, if you remember a few weeks ago in a Triple Lutz report, we talked about technology and how Kindles were enabling homeschooling to be much more effective, and technology would eventually eliminate the public school teacher and the public school, which probably isn't such a bad thought. Well, yesterday I looked in the Apple store. They've got textbooks for the iPad too, but they're not ordinary textbooks. If you're doing ancient studies, you tap the pyramids and all of a sudden there's a video and you're going in there live looking at the artifacts, the hieroglyphics, analyzing the tombs, seeing the sarcophagus. It's an amazing thing. It really brings a whole nother level to learning. And the biggest part of traditional schooling, why it fails, is because it's boring. Now, is it boring because of the teachers? Is it boring because of the system? I don't know. But anything you can do to make education more interesting is going to make these kids succeed. And the concept of individualized learning, where you learn at your own pace, at your own schedule, you become accountable for what you've learned, is crucial. Just as an aside, as you know, I'm a big audiobook lover. Audible.com, not a sponsor of the show yet, but it'd be great if they were. I started downloading the series, The Modern Scholar. These are courses taught by world-class intellects and professors, PhDs with multiple degrees who've studied this topic to death and can recite it in their sleep. And they're really gifted lecturers. Taken 3 or 4 different courses in the past month. One on the Byzantine Empire. I learned more in about 8 hours of lectures than I ever learned in school about it. The next one was Mark Twain, his life and times and his writing and how he became a phenomenal writer and a major success. And number 3 was World War I, an analysis of how the war started, what happened during the war, and how it ended and set up the world for far worse. Phenomenal speaker, a guy from Oxford University in England. Learned so much about it. And then you can even download a test and take a test at the end of the course. These types of course materials are phenomenal and will help them progress to a place that nobody ever expected they could. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm condemning the educational system as it is. It's really important that technology be used to fully educate our children, get them out of these warehouses, get them out of these horrible places where learning is put in last place and teacher job security is in first place. It's got to change. The good thing is it's changing now before our eyes. The educational establishment has no idea what's about to hit them, but it is going to be a tsunami that changes the way everybody on the planet learns. So be optimistic, be hopeful, because things are changing before our very eyes for the better. This is Kerry Lutz. Been another Triple Lutz Report, signing off.